everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be going over a 2021 Jaguar F-Type R. It's really weird to say 2021, so I might make a mistake and say 2020 by accident in this video. But regardless of that, a huge shout out and thank you to the Jaguar Land Rover here in downtown Salt Lake for providing us with this F-Type R. They actually already have two of them, this one and then another one with black interior, so again, definitely check them out in the link below. Let's get to the video. Under the hood of the 2021 Jaguar F-Type R, we have a supercharged 5-liter V8 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Power outputs are 575 horsepower and then 516 pound-feet of torque with a 0 to 60 time of 3.5 seconds, top speed of 186 miles an hour, and then fuel economy 16 around town and 24 on the highway. So the first thing I'll show you guys is the lights, and you can turn them on from the key fob. Now I noticed that the lights, that's one of the biggest changes with the 2021 F-Types, is just like they've made the lights a lot sleeker and a lot thinner compared to the previous generation, and I think it looks really good. It literally kind of like looks like a spaceship on the front end because it's just so like sharp and sleek. Now going over the rest of the front end, I love the little venting that you get at the top of the hood. Definitely makes it look a whole lot sportier. Yes, you get the Jaguar logo there front and center. You got parking sensors all along the front, and then you do get this front splitter as well, and again it just has this like nice aggressive look, and just look at how like long the hood is on the F-Type. Coming to the side here to go over the tire and rim setup, we've got two 65/20s in the front, and then in the rear we've got 305s on 20s. So the rims are the same size, but the tires are wider on the rear. I mean, that's pretty normal for sports cars like this. In terms of the design, I think it's just a really cool, like classy, sporty design. You can see how massive the rotors are here on the front. I mean, just look at that rotor. It's just absolutely massive. And then just look how low the F-Type R is to the ground. It just has this like nice, sleek, low design to the ground, which I really appreciate, I really like. And then in terms of the design in the rear, you can kind of see like how it widens out to make these nice haunches. Yes, it's got the cool door handles. We'll go over that in a moment. But here is a kind of like full-on side look at the new F-Type R. Here is the key fob for the new F-Type. You've got like the little Jaguar band that goes around, and then you have all the controls on the key fob. So you've got the unlock, the lock, this releases the trunk, and then you've got that for the lights, and then the little button for the hazard lights. But we're gonna hold this down, and well, that'll open up the trunk, which is actually a hatch. Now actually looking at the hatch, I feel like this has a really good amount of cargo space for being such like a high performance sports car. So you could easily fit, like literally, I'm pretty sure you could fit golf bags back here. I mean, it's just like long enough, and it is deep enough as well. I really like the floor mats, how they kind of match the interior coloration. You guys will see that shortly, but you get the nice little Jaguar plaque right there. That is the windshield wiper fluid filler area, which is pretty interesting that it's in the rear. But sometimes in sports cars they'll kind of move stuff around so that they get a better like weight distribution front to rear. And then you do get a cargo cover as well, and then it does actually go down automatically. You just press this little button and then it'll slow lower back down into place, so you don't have to do anything. Now I just quickly want to show you guys what the lights look like in the rear when they are on, so you guys can kind of see them blinking. I really like the rear lights on the F-Type. This is the part that looks more similar to the previous generation, is the back end, but there are a few little differences. So the lights are slightly different, but they're pretty much the same. Same Jaguar logo there at the top. I love the quad tips, and yes, you guys will get an exhaust clip in just a little bit. This whole like diffuser area just looks absolutely insane. And then yes, you get the R logo on the side so that people know that you got the fast one with the big V8. But yeah, the rear end still has like a nice, sleek, modern look to it. Now coming up to the side here, you do get keyless entry, and yes, the door handles look amazing. You also get power folding mirrors. It says Jaguar there at the top, but opening up the door itself to reveal the door panel, I just love the look of the door panel in the F-Type. So you get nice leather at the top and at the bottom with white contrast stitching. Get a really nice quilted design right there, and then the leather itself has kind of like a nice like firm, smooth feel to it. Just feels very premium. And the seat adjustments are actually there on the side of the door. You do get memory seats as well, but yeah, there's kind of like the whole door panel setup. Here are the front seats in the F-Type R, and again, beautiful brown leather with the white contrasted stitching, and they do more of that quilted design at the top. The bolsters are perfect on this. They have this like nice like thin feel to them, but it's just more than enough padding to just be like a comfortable seat to sit in. And then look at the pedals just down below. The attention to detail is really solid. And then you do have a couple controls up in this little area. This is to open up that hatch. That's the lane departure departure assistance because this does come with safety tech. That's for your lights. And then the steering wheel adjustment's actually here on the side, which is pretty interesting because most Jaguars have it on the other side. There's the back of the paddles, but there's one more look before, well, we pop in. Now this is a pretty neat little thing. The stop start button just like pulsates in red, but starting it up, you hear that beautiful V8 come to life, and well, everything else will pop on. And notice the vents, by the way, I should have probably shown that at the start. So when it's off, the vents will be down, and you guys can see them popping back down. But yes, when you start it up, the vents in the center like come to life. It's like, again, it's gimmicky, but it's just a cool little look. They're like, woo! Boom. Here is the steering wheel in the F-Type R. There are a couple controls on the steering wheel itself, and sorry, just because of like the angle of this car, I can't quite show the whole steering wheel in the frame. But you do have a couple controls over here for like the cruise control, for example. It does have an R logo at the bottom so that you know what you're driving. And then over here, you've got the controls for the center screen, and then also mainly for the infotainment system, and then voice commands, all that kind of stuff. Paddle shifters on the back of the steering wheel to shift the gears yourself. Nice perforated leather here with the white stitching, and then smoother at the top and at the bottom. Now here is the center gauge cluster. Front and center is the tach, which is the most important part since this is a performance vehicle. Notice that you do get the navigation over there on the other side, and then it kind of defaults to be just a little picture of your F-Type, which I think is pretty neat. But going through, it just shows you different bits of information here on the other side. Sorry, there's quite a bit of glare over there, but it just shows you different vehicle information. You can go through like the radio stuff, media, all that kind of stuff. Pretty much the same little system that's on most Jaguars. It's just kind of like over here in the far corner. Now here's the center infotainment system, and first off, we're gonna pop it into reverse so you guys can see what the backup camera looks like. The resolution on it is really solid. It's really easy to see out of as well, and yeah, you don't really need much else. I mean, this isn't that big of a vehicle. But other than that, the rest of the infotainment system, I love how they have shortcuts here at the bottom to go to everything. Response time on it is really solid. I actually really like this infotainment system. And you can even go to the camera part again, so you basically just do another view out the back. No front views though, but it's okay. It's still a really solid camera system. Down below the infotainment system, we actually have the climate controls, and they do that push thing. So like you can push in to go to the seats, or you can have it be a climate control. Really easy to use. I wish more car manufacturers would do stuff like that because it's just convenient. And then you got the rest of the climate stuff down here on these little switches, which they just feel cool to push. It just like makes you feel like you're doing something substantial, even though you're just changing, you know, what's happening in the car temperature wise. Here's the whole gear selector area with a little stop start button, and then just notice the attention to detail with the leather trim and the stitching and more leather trim. Like, it's just beautiful all around. But you got a little control for the radio, for example. This just hides a 12 volt just behind it. Oh, sorry, I didn't show it to you well enough. This is the shifter for that 8-speed automatic. Really easy to use. You just push in and pull down for drive, push up for neutral. You gotta push the button in and then up for reverse, and then down and then over for the manual shift mode, and then you just push in for park. Now let's get to the important controls here. This is to, yes, raise the spoiler, which I will show that to you guys in a moment, before the end of the video at least. And then that's for your auto stop start stability control. This is the exhaust button to open up the valves, and you can definitely hear a difference just right off the bat. Now this is the most important thing. This is for the drive mode. So looking up here in the center screen, if I push it up, then that'll put me into the rain, snow, ice mode. And then you kind of have like your normal mode, and then if you push it down, you got the dynamic mode. So you're pretty much just in between those three different drive modes: rain, snow, ice, dynamic, or normal. It's like, do you want to drive it like a race car? Do you want to drive it like a normal car? Or do you want to drive in the snow? I got this little tray right here, and this just hides the cup holders, which the finish at the bottom of them is just like super premium, which is kind of random because I mean, it's just a cup holder, but they still made it nice. And then here in the center console, couple more USBs and a 12 volt. Storage space on it is relatively limited, I will say that, but I mean, it gets the job done. And then while we're on storage, actually press this little button, and that's what opens up the glove box lined with felt. And the glove box in this is actually really big, so what you lack in center console, you gain in glove box. Up top here, we have an Alcantara headliner, and it goes onto the pillars as well, so they did a really good job with that. And then you actually do get this little kind of like sunroof. It is just fixed glass, so you can't actually open it, but you do have a shade to cover it up if you don't want to have that, which is nice because some manufacturers will give you these glass panels, but then they don't give you a way to cover it. So good job, Jaguar, for letting us cover from the sun. Now before we finish off, I just want to show you guys the interior one more time just so you can see the attention to detail and just how beautiful this interior is. Just so well put together, just with all the different color elements and then also the design elements and how it kind of like all connects together, like that line of stitching just boom and goes into that. But let's go over the window sticker. So you guys can see the interior and exterior color on this, and then this is the standard equipment, so feel free to freeze the frame on any aspect that you'd like. And then here is the base MSRP. Now this does have quite a few options added to it, like the full extended leather upgrade for $2,500, and well, I guess the suede cloth headliner is an option too. But that all being said, the total price is $113,610. Let's take this F-Type R out and see how she drives. Let's quickly talk about visibility in the F-Type before we set off. So visibility over the hood, it does have a pretty long hood, so it would take you a moment to get used to just because of how low you are in the car, and then also how long the hood is, and then kind of like how far back you're sitting. And then there's the visibility through both of the mirrors. And then here's visibility throughout the rear. Now visibility is limited to an extent, but the window's actually pretty big, so it's not bad compared to most other cars kind of like in this range in terms of visibility, and you do get blind spot monitoring, so again, it's pretty good. That all being said though, let's set off. So I am initially setting off here in the 2020 F-Type R, and right now I've got it in the comfort mode. I've got it in the quiet exhaust mode as well. And just initially with this F-Type, it's actually really good for being like a luxury vehicle. Now, yes, I can feel the suspension's a little bit on the firmer side, but that's going to give you huge benefits when you do want to do sporty driving with this. But just like sitting here, I've got the air-conditioned seat on. Again, like I said, these seats are very comfortable. I know they look a little bit crazy and bolstered, but they're actually extremely comfortable to sit in. And on top of that, the suspension is actually doing pretty good. And from like a noise perspective, when you have this in the comfort mode and when you have the exhaust turned down, you don't really hear a whole lot, and it's got a good amount of torque, but you just kind of like go along. And so like, this is one of those cars that is such a good car at being dual personality, like where you can have a crazy fun sporty car, but then you can also have this like nice smooth luxury car. And right now we're experiencing the luxury side. So I've got the windows down just so you guys will be able to hear a little bit more. I'm in the dynamic mode, so automatically that will open up the exhaust valves when you go into the dynamic mode. Or if you want to make sure, you can just kind of like check the little button and it'll have an orange light when it's open. It will not be illuminated when it's closed. So pretty simple on that. And you can hear a difference between the two. These shifts are really good though, going through the gears. But continue on that, you can definitely hear a difference between like, and I tried to do that in the exhaust clip so you guys can kind of hear the valves opening and closing. You can hear when it's open and you can hear when it's closed, just from like a sound quality perspective. Ooh, it does the gargles. I don't know if you guys can hear this pretty well, but I'll kind of like let off the throttle. It does like little gargles out of the exhaust. Sounds really good. The exhaust in this, like by far out of all of the cars that I've reviewed with Jaguar and Land Rover, this one sounds the best, like without a doubt. And the handling on this is really solid. So you guys know I have a ZL1 1LE, which is like a crazy handling track car. This handles really well. So you guys can kind of like understand the perspective I'm coming from though. So I'm short shifting a little bit. I don't want to go all the way up to red line because it's a brand new car, and you guys can still hear, like, even when you short shift, but the sound the transmission makes is just so violent and so like visceral. Like, this is such a fun car too. And again, like I said, it's so good at being a luxury car, but then you can drop down a couple gears, right? And then you just get those those upshifts, which sound ridiculous, and you get the gargles out of the exhaust, like, it kind of makes like popping sounds. Again, that just makes this car so exciting and so dual personality. And I don't know if you guys can like see through the camera angle, but the spoiler automatically deploys at higher speeds and it just kind of like pops up. It's pretty cool. But again, from a performance standpoint, this is extremely solid, like so solid. And the brakes, they're good. The brakes are good. I'm gonna treat you guys with a little bit of tunnel fun here, hopefully. Oh, you hear the pops, and the pops sound so good. Yeah, like, just not even going that much under throttle, and you just get ridiculous sounds with this. It sounds amazing. Like, that is literally, like, 90% of the excitement from this car is how good this sounds. Out of all of the V8s that I have driven, seriously, out of all the V8s I've driven, and I'm saying this even, again, having owned a Shelby GT350 and having now owning a Camaro ZL1 1LE, I actually like this way more. And the reason is it has so much character to it, and just the sound quality, and it just kind of like creates this like excitement that I rarely get with a car. And yeah, I really do think this is like just from like, and how like consistent it is with the sound quality too. That's really important, because some cars will sound good in certain gears and in other gears they won't sound that good, or at low speeds they'll sound good but at high speeds they won't. This sounds good at every single speed. Like, no matter what, if you go up higher on the RPMs, it does these cool burbles on the upshifts. It sounds really cool. Oh, and train. It sounds really cool. Like, no matter what, this sounds cool. Like, it's so solid. And I hope that my like excitement over the sound is coming through to you guys, because it really is that good. Well, we're gonna get into summing things up as soon as I get another shift here. It sounds so good every single time. Like, I cannot get over that sound. And so where I think this stands now in terms of like a price point, this is in the same price range as like Porsche 911 range, but you're kind of closer to like a base model 911. And I mean, other than that, right, it's gonna be more expensive than some of like the muscle cars that are similar power figures to this, but you're getting the Jaguar name, you're getting the Jaguar luxury that comes with this car. And so I actually am gonna say this, and I really mean this, I think this car is a really good value. And if I was at a like buying a car on this price point, I would very much like lean towards this. Just from like an aesthetic standpoint, it looks super unique. From a sound standpoint, it sounds amazing. You still use a big supercharged V8, and I love the interior. The interior quality is fantastic. So this just checks all the boxes. Like, it's such a solid offering. And yeah, if you're in the market for a crazy fun like performance car, there you go. That's all that needs to be said. The car has given you your answer. That is gonna sum things up on the 2021 Jaguar F-Type R. And again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Jaguar Land Rover here in downtown Salt Lake for providing us with the F-Type R. Definitely check out their inventory in the link below if you're in the market for a Jaguar Land Rover. I will see all of you in that next video.